Yeah, welcome to this video. Yeah, this will be a short video that shows two games that I recently played on this casual correspondence server chessworld.net, and it's a rare occurrence that you get a game that you play yourself. Which is almost identical to a game that has been already played before. I'll show you this game. Both games are with the same opening, with the Evans Gambit, and they're also meant to show that the Evans Gambit is a very interesting opening to study for white if you want to sharpen up your opening repertoire, or want to add some interesting line to your opening choices. Then I think the Evans is very, very interesting. Let's get going. We've got the Italian game, and now before is the Evans Gambit. I think if you look at e4, e5, double king pawn openings, there is really a bunch of gambits around. I think almost all of these gambits, the Evans is maybe the most interesting one to play. Usually white really has got some compensation, and often black really needs to return the pawn to get an equal game. Black, of course, has chances to equalize. It's not terrible for black, but it's a very good practical weapon, as black really needs to know what he's doing, and it's always dangerous. So in this game here, black accepted the pawn, which is also by far the main line. Black can also play this declined version of the gambit, but this has never been so popular. It's playable. It's not a bad move, but nothing that should scare white. White can continue with various moves, also a4 here, or knight c3. Alright, so but he took it, and then c3, winning a tempo on this bishop, which is one key idea. Here black played bishop to a5. Yeah, this is arguably the main line. Black has got some alternatives, of course. One solid alternative here is the move bishop e7, which will also be most likely be the move that I will recommend in my e4, e5 repertoire series, as I think this is relatively easy to play for black compared to bishop a5. But also here white still has interesting play. Okay, let's return to the game where bishop a5 was played, and now I just played d4, realizing the idea of this opening to establish the center, which black took on d4. This is also a fine move. And now queen b3. I think this move is much more exact compared to castles, which is also possible. But after castles, there are simply other ideas that black might have at its disposal. For instance, it is sometimes an idea for black now to play quickly knight to e7 and d5. Somehow the castles move is not the most direct one, so I went queen b3 here, directly attacking f7. Yeah, which black really needs to care about. He cannot allow me to take on f7. Here black usually covers this pawn with the queen. There's not much choice, and in this game he played queen e7, which I think is a very risky move. Queen f6 is the better move, and this is the move which I will show in the second game. I had identical moves up to this point in those two games, but in the second game the black player played queen f6, which is, as mentioned, better. But here queen e7 was played. The problem with this queen e7 move is that it takes away this potential square for the G8 knight, and it somehow in this aspect doesn't help to get the king out of the center. Alright, white just castles, obviously. I just want to get the king out of this, and yeah, of course black cannot not grab the pawn. Rook e1 just wins the queen, and black just needs to make sure that his king gets out of the center in a way. It's not easy to do. He now took another pawn on c3. Yeah, this pawn grab I think is just too risky. Here black has a good alternative, and this is yeah, the modern main line of this, in playing bishop to b6. After bishop b6, white takes on d4, knight takes, bishop takes, and knight to c3, and knight f6 now. Yeah, this is played to this day, and is yeah, probably the way that black most often plays against this opening. It's still very risky. Black has grabbed 2 pawns, and white has numerous ways to attack black. Bishop a3, knight d5, knight b5. Yeah, black really walks a tightrope here. It's playable for black, obviously. It's still recommended in books, but studying this kind of line for white can be very rewarding, as black still needs to be very careful. It's in the game he didn't do that, didn't play bishop b6, but as mentioned, he grabbed the pawn on c3, and I think after this black is already, yeah, I think it's almost very, very difficult, let's put it this way, to hold this position. White just recaptures, and now knight f6 was played. I think in this position was the last chance to really put up something of a fight. I think black needs to just grab this bishop, grab this knight with the bishop to prevent this knight d5 idea, and try something like this. But obviously this kind of position, attacking the queen, is yeah, a very, very difficult for black to play. White has got tremendous compensation for the 2 pawns, and he will most likely regain at least 1 pawn in the near future. This is just one idea. There are others even. Also, in this position, this kind of move is also quite good, I would say. Let's say knight e4, queen here, knight moves, and now bishop g5, attacking the queen. It doesn't have yeah, lots of good square. It needs to go to f8, and also this position is obviously very dangerous for black to handle. He's got the king in the center, and white has got tremendous activity. So I would say in a game between humans this is almost unplayable. But what he did in the game was just knight f6, and now knight d5 is very strong. What should black do? He doesn't have much choice. He needs to capture the knight on d5. Take here, attack this knight, and also I've got this rook e1 idea. At the moment the bishop prevents it, but the e-file is wide open with the queen and the king, so this already spells trouble. Yeah, black went knight e5, just took it, and bishop b2, winning a tempo. Yeah, and we see that white has a really brilliant position with great development, and the king still on yeah, on e8. Also the g7 pawn is attacked by the bishop, so he goes to g5, still covering this pawn, and this also explains my next move. Just h4, trying to distract the queen from the g7 square. And yeah, here Black played queen g6. Yeah, it's funny. All this has been played before in a rather famous game between Bobby Fischer playing white and on the black side Reuben Fine, who was a world-class player in the 30s and 40s. He was long retired by then. They played this as a friendly game in 1963 when Fine was already quite old and inactive for quite a number of years. But Fischer played the Evans Gambit against him, and this was also included in the famous book My 60 Memorable Games. The Fischer-Fine game continued at h4 with taking. Just to show it briefly, it's not very long. Bishop takes g7, attacking the rook. It's only got one square. Check. And now just the check on e1. Fine went here. You can take on e1. It doesn't make much difference as a new rook appears. King d8, and now queen g3, and Fine resigned because of the neat line. Queen takes and checkmate, and mate on f6. Very nice. Similar stuff is also happening in the game. So in the game, after h4, he didn't take it. He played queen to g6. And now I have a simple but effective move. Queen a3. Neat little sidestep, attacking the bishop, but also keeping an eye on the 7 square. And what should Black do now? He needs to save the bishop. So he went, so he went bishop to b6. Yeah, and then I just gave the check on e1. And what should Black do? If he moves the king to d8, checkmate. It's a mate in 1. And the only thing that he can do is interpose some pieces and lose all of them, like queen here, and I just take it. So white is just completely winning in this position. Even black is beyond any saving here. This queen takes h4 is the Fischer-Fine game, and black was just black's king was just caught in the middle here, which is in fact fairly typical of the Evans Gambit. If black grabs too much material. Yeah, it's a very dangerous opening, and this can also be witnessed in the second game that I played. Let me just this is irritating. In the second game that I played, where is it? Just a second here. Check. Oops. Okay. This wasn't planned. Okay, the second game, it starts out of course with the same moves as mentioned, and the difference comes here. Here my opponent played queen f6, the other move, protecting f7, and this is playable. Very old move, but playable. For instance, also played by Kasparov just, I think, about 2 years ago in a blitz match against Nigel Short. Kasparov played this queen f6 move also. So, of course, white just continues development with castling. And black now played bishop b6, which is perfectly alright. Kasparov played d3 in this game, which is also possible, returning a pawn and trying to somehow slow down white's attack. But bishop b6 as played in the game is okay, covering this pawn. And I just played e5 with the intention of opening up the position quickly and gaining time. And black replied queen g6, which is also normal. Queen was attacked. You cannot really take it and open up the e-file. This is far too risky. And I took on d4. And in this position, I think black played a move that is also simply too risky, comparable to the last game. He took on d4. I think this already leads to problems for black. What he should do here is to play knight to a5, attacking both the queen and the bishop, so that in this kind of position, queen a4, black gets the bishop pair and gets rid of this dangerous bishop. This is most important. Knight to e7, and in this position, white is just a pawn down. He has only sacrificed one pawn, and I think still retains pretty decent compensation for his pawn. One possible continuation here, which I like, is this move a4, with the idea to play a5. There are other ideas. Also, the immediate bishop a3 is a possibility. Has been played by Nigel Short, for instance. Yeah, there are various ideas. I like this a4 move with this idea. So black needs to react to this in a way. In general, white's plan is to go bishop a3, maybe next move, and always attack the e7 knight and make it difficult for black to get his king out of the center. It's still a long way until this bishop, for instance, on c8 moves, or this rook plays. While white is pretty quick here. Bishop a3, knight somewhere, and the rooks are connected. So this is certainly compensation for a pawn. The computer also agrees. It gives white full compensation here. So, but this is how black should play. Black is certainly alright here. He's not losing. It's just difficult to play those rather defensive positions. I'd rather be white here, to be honest. Okay, so in the game, he grabbed the second pawn. And this is, as mentioned, really dangerous business. Okay, I took, bishop takes, and knight c3. So it's a nice leading development again, and very aggressively placed pieces. The knight on c3 also is always ready to jump to b5 or d5, joining in the attack. And the general issue here is still, how would black get his king out of the center? He played knight to e7, logically preparing castling. But now this key move, bishop to a3. And this is just one benefit of this b4 move, that it opens up the queen side in an extent that this bishop very often is placed on this dangerous diagonal, preventing black from castling. It's difficult to see how black really should get out of this. He played knight to c6, and this allows a very strong reply, but I don't think that black had a great alternative. Maybe b6, which is b6 and this move, which the computer suggests, but this is also not a move that a human player would like to play, really. It looks rather dangerous. Okay, but in the game he played knight to c6, maybe underestimating the reply, which is the very strong move knight to b5. And here, black is in huge trouble. In the game he declined this rook sacrifice and went bishop to b6, but we should of course look at the alternatives. If black actually takes this rook, then white has a very strong reply. Check. Bishop f7, and this wins instantly. Queen takes, check, and knight c7, and now white just picks up the queen and wins. Just an extra queen for some small change. So he cannot take the rook. What else is there? He could take e5, but this is simply punished with rook a to e1. and black has absolutely no way to get out of this alive. I just threaten f4 now, winning the bishop and crashing through on the e-file. And if he would try to play this, white was also threatening knight takes c7, by the way. Then I just take f7, and well, this is just disaster. Simply winning attack for just 2 pawns. I think it wins instantly. Okay, so black also couldn't take e5. So as c7 is hanging, there's not much else. He retreated to b6. And here white has more than one interesting continuation. An interesting alternative, for example, here would have been this move to get out of this this knight a5 idea. But in the game, I just played rook a to e1 as I realized that knight a5 is not a huge issue. Still, maybe it is the best try. I think black's position really cannot be saved anymore. We should look at knight a5, queen a4, queen was attacked, and now in this position white has a very strong threat. The threat is the following: if black would play a move like a6, sort of, okay, it attacks the knight, but it doesn't in any way influence the central situation, then white has the enormously strong move e6. And this just wins the game instantly. If black takes here,
check.
It's this double check, picking up the rook. So it cannot take with the d pawn. And yeah, if you take with this pawn, then it's also a problem.
Check.
Takes here.
Check.
And rook e6 wins the queen. Yeah, and it's yeah, due to this pin, and it's still an enormously strong attack. I think it's close to mate. Yeah, it's not just the queen. So e6 is a very strong threat, and this is why black cannot play any random move like h6 or something. It can always go here. But honestly, what should black play? You cannot get the king out of this. You have the pieces out of play, while white's pieces all are yeah, taking up attacking positions. So okay, I think knight takes c4 is the principled idea. Queen c4, and yeah, what now? Black really is in huge trouble. c7 is just hanging. Let's say king d8. It's just check, and black just loses instantly, as you need to play this, and after that move, this attack is decisive. So what else? Let's say a6, just to show. Yeah, white could take check here, but you have an even stronger check move. You can play knight to d6 check, and this wins instantly.
Check.
Yeah, the poor king. The e-file is opened. And yeah, queen e8. How would you prevent this move? On something like this, white goes here, attacking the queen and attacking the bishop. And this is just a winning attack. These pieces are simply out of play, and black's precarious king position will lose the game. I think this is mate in a couple of moves, most likely. So this also doesn't really help. I think black cannot be saved anymore in this position. What he did is he played the move a6, and yeah, this allows a rather simple finish, pretty similar to the one we saw before. Check. Knight d6 check. And yeah, what should black do now? He needs to take the knight. If he wouldn't do it, let's say here, I can take here and win the house. So he needs to take the knight, after which I just recapture with this check, King d8
checkmate,
is immediate mate, quite nice. So he needs to go here, and then white can simply take on b6, and this attack is absolutely not defensible. The key attacking move is rook e7 or knight bishop to d5, trying to get rid of the knight and then have this check at the end. What quite neat is something like this. If black, let's say, plays h5, he cannot really do anything meaningful. Then rook e7 just wins, attacking f7, and black is toast. If you take it,
checkmate,
it's a neat mate in one. So yeah, what should black do? There's not much to do in terms of defense. It's just lost. Yeah, in the game, after this knight to d6 check on move 16, yeah, black actually resigned. Yeah, as I have just shown, yeah, not a minute too early. Black is really totally lost. So yeah, the Evans Gambit initiated here with this b4 move, I think can be a very interesting addition to your opening repertoire. If you play 1e4, then quite often you have to deal with double king pawn, and of course a principled move, and maybe the main move is Lopez, but the Italian game can be a nice alternative, especially considering that you can so nicely mix somewhat slower approaches. For example, after bishop c5, you can of course also play this slow continuation leading to a lengthy maneuvering game, very similar to the Rui. But you also have this nice alternative with b4, playing in Gambit style. So it's very nicely possible to mix aggressive play and slower, more positional, strategical play in the Italian game. So I think it can be recommended, especially if you face opponents where you have the suspicion that they don't know the theory too well. Then the Evans can be really deadly. Yeah, I hope you like the 2 quick attacking wins. And yeah, make sure to check out this opening if you play 1e4. I think it's worth it. Yeah, thanks and bye.